Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to get a little bit of a nap. We're going to catch some Z's. We're going to get some shut-eye because our lives are so exhausting. I just thought I would sleep through today's lesson and let all our students just kind of imagine what our lesson is going to be about.
So we're just going to snore for the next little, while and hopefully they learn something just listening to us snore because we're taking a nap. Or as I like to call it, a napola. A napola is not a real word. It's a word I made up. It just means a little nap. And I must admit I like taking little naps every once in a while. But for me, Tom, the pillow is the most important thing in getting a good night's sleep or even having a good nap. I need a good pillow.
Yeah, we're not going to have a nap now, but this does kind of lead us into the topic of today's lesson, pillows.
Yep.
Indeed, the things you put your head on when you take a nap or when you sleep at night. And pillows are important. And I don't think a lot of people think about the history of pillows. And if you've never thought about the history of pillows before yourself, well, today's program is just for you. So let's find out about pillows throughout the ages. Let's listen to our lesson now one time.
For most of human history, sleeping on a soft pillow was a very luxurious habit. But did you know this bedtime comfort hasn't always been so soft and fluffy? The oldest surviving record of a pillow is 9,000 years old and comes from Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. The pillow was stone and raised the person's head to keep pests from crawling into their mouth, ears, and nose. Later, ancient Egyptians had both functional and religious reasons for using hard pillows. The structure supported people's heads during sleep. These ancient people considered the head to be the spiritual center and most sacred part of the body. One of the gods they worshipped, Bes, was often carved on stone or ivory pillows as protection from evil spirits. The ancient Chinese also kept evil away with pillows. They believed hard pillows in the shape of fierce animals like lions and dragons scared evil spirits. Besides, pillows made of porcelain, jade, or bronze supported the head and neck, cooled down the body in hot temperatures, and kept elaborate hairstyles in place. By the time of the ancient Greeks, pillows had become softer. The wealthy used pillows made with down feathers, while other people had ones stuffed with straw. However, these both had to be replaced often because they were vulnerable to mold and insects. These kinds of soft pillows weren't often used during the Middle Ages because they were seen as a sign of weakness. In the 1500s, England's King Henry VIII even banned soft pillows for everyone except himself and pregnant women. During the Industrial Revolution, widespread manufacturing made pillows affordable. These were mainly filled with chicken feathers until the 1960s, when durable polyester fiber was invented. Now, we have pillows of every shape, density, firmness, and material. When you go to sleep tonight, think about how fortunate modern humans are to have easy access to comfortable pillows.
Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about the contents of our lesson for today. The subject is pillows, and we're talking about the history of pillows, so therefore we are talking about pillows throughout the ages, from ancient history all the way up to modern times. Now, here in the first paragraph it says, for most of human history, sleeping on a soft pillow was a very luxurious habit. But did you know this bedtime comfort hasn't always been so soft and fluffy? So this basically tells us a general summary of pillows. For most of human history, which, has humans haven't been around that long compared to other animals, but for a long time, if you wanted to sleep on a soft pillow, that was considered something very luxurious, something only rich people did. Most of us take our pillows for granted. We've got pillows at home, we've got them in our office, we've got them in school, and they help us to nap very peacefully and very comfortably. But hey, for most of human history, people did not have those soft pillows. Soft pillows were considered a luxury, which again is something very rare that can be very expensive and only rich people can afford. And the adjective for luxury is luxurious.
Some examples of luxurious things would be very expensive cars. The brands might be Mercedes, BMW, or BMW, yeah?
BMW, actually. I guess that's how you would say it in German.
LV, if you're looking at luggage or clothes, LV is a very expensive label. Prada, things like that. Those are very luxurious labels or brands. So sleeping on a soft pillow was considered to be kind of in that category of being very luxurious. So most people didn't even sleep on a pillow long ago.
Yeah, we're using the word luxurious to describe those expensive cars, but if you want to talk about those cars correctly, you should say a luxury car, like a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley or something like that.
Ooh,
those are luxury cars.
Those are very nice.
But indeed, did you know this bedtime comfort, this pillow, hasn't always been so soft and fluffy? They were actually quite hard in the past. It's hard to imagine, but let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, the oldest surviving record of a pillow is 9,000 years old and comes from Mesopotamia, which is modern-day Iraq. Now, we often talk about the early civilization in the Middle East there. We talk about Mesopotamia. There were all sorts of different cultures there. The Babylonians were there. The Sumerians, I guess is how you should describe them.
Assyrians.
Right, but it's in present-day Iraq, and Mesopotamia actually means between the rivers. And the rivers they're referring to is the Tigris and the Euphrates River. But indeed, this is in modern-day Iraq, and we've got some records, or a record at least, of a pillow existing 9,000 years ago, even older than China.
Yeah, and the pillow was made of stone or rock, and it raised the person's head. Why? Well, they wanted to keep pests from crawling into the sleeping person's mouth, ears, and nose. Ooh! So I guess they're talking about things like little pests might be cockroaches, spiders, flies, fleas, things like that. Hopefully they aren't talking about rats or mice, but they could. We don't know. So later, ancient Egyptians, they came later in history, had both functional and religious reasons for using hard pillows. If it's functional, it just means having to do with practical life. There was a reason why they needed pillows. But they also had religious reasons for using those hard pillows. Why? Well, the structure of the pillow supported people's heads during sleep, and they considered the head to be the spiritual center of a person's body, and thus was the most sacred part of the body. To be spiritual just means you're connected to the religious world in some way. Some people consider themselves to be spiritual but not religious, meaning they think about life and their moral values and the purpose of life, but they may not go to a particular church and go to church services that way. So you can be spiritual. Now, if you're talking about something that's sacred, usually sacred things are connected with God. It could be one God with a capital G. Christians believe in one God. Even Muslims believe in one God, actually.
Yeah.
We believe in the same God. Or you could be from a more Asian type a region of the world where you have several gods you believe in or dedicate yourself to. They can become very sacred parts of your belief system for you. Now, these ancient people, the Egyptians we're talking about, they believed that the head was very sacred and needed to be protected.
Right. Something sacred is something holy. It's something you need to respect and take good care of. You can't make fun of it. You can't insult it. So, indeed, there are lots of sacred artifacts, for example, in churches, like the, I guess they're called monstrances or whatever, with a cross or something like that. That could be considered quite sacred. Or the shelizi from monks, after they die and they're cremated, they leave behind these kinds of stones. Those are quite sacred as well. But back in ancient times, we had these people who considered the head of the body to be sacred, and it's a spiritual center of the body. So I guess they wanted to provide some comfort for that part of the body. And one of the gods they worshipped, Bes, was often carved on stone or ivory pillows as protection from evil spirits. So at the time, of course, we had hard pillows here, and they had this god that they worshipped called Bes. And the image of Bes was carved on stone or on ivory pillows, and that would protect you from evil spirits. Ivory, of course, is the substance we get from elephant tusks. That's kind of controversial these days. There are still lots of artifacts around made out of ivory, but you're not really supposed to use it nowadays, even though people still do.
Yeah, and then we had the Chinese, and they also kept evil away with pillows. Now, they believed hard pillows in the shape of fierce animals, for example, a lion or a dragon, that they would be able to scare away evil spirits while they slept. If something is fierce, it's really aggressive, it's intense, it's ferocious. So you can be quite fierce with an emotion you're displaying. Maybe you're really angry and you look very fierce as you're angry. When animals are attacking other animals to kill and eat, they become very fierce. They become ferocious. So the shape of these animals was supposed to scare away evil spirits in the Chinese belief system. Now, besides, pillows were made of porcelain, jade, or bronze. Think of those particular types of material. They're quite hard, and they would support the head and neck, but they also cooled down the body in hot temperatures and kept elaborate hairstyles in place. So that probably was referring to more women than men, but who knows? Maybe they had some very complicated, elaborate hairstyles in the men back then, too. If you keep something in place, you don't allow it to shift or move. My mom had a particular pillow she liked to sleep with that kept her hairstyle in place. So it kind of makes me smile when I read that.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got different materials from which pillows were made, porcelain, jade, or bronze. Bronze is usually awarded at the Olympics for a third place.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a mix of copper and brass, I believe?
Tin.
Tin. Okay,
yeah.
Copper and tin. There you go. It's a mixture of a couple of metals there. And indeed, that's what a lot of pillows were made from. And I believe this is talking about ancient China. Okay, that brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是5月22号 Unit 13 Pillows Throughout the Ages。这是一篇篇章结构的练习题，内容跟枕头相关。大家每天都要睡觉，也都希望能够睡个好觉。不过有没有人想过，如果没有放在头下面的那颗枕头，我们可能会睡不好。今天这篇文章就是从历史角度来看，让我们了解枕头在人类文明史上的重要性和演进。好，那我们就一起来解题吧。不过在开始解题前，老师还是要耳提面命跟大家强调，答题的时候先看一下4个选项，在心里面有个大致的印象，用哪些句子可以让文章变得更完整，甚至于粗略的把这4个选项排一下彼此的顺序。有些选项句子本身就可以提供线索，让我们知道这样子的句子比较有可能是在文章的前、中、后部分。此外篇章结构最重要的就是把句子放回去的时候，你要记住这个句子和前后文是要文意连贯的，因此文意概念上要承先启后。所以请大家谨记8字真言，哪8字啊？前后连贯，文意通顺。答题的时候只要记得这个原则，什么难题都可以迎刃而解的。好，那我们就一起看到第一题。第一题前面提到 在人类历史大部分时间里，睡在柔软的枕头上是非常奢侈的习惯。不过，大家知道，这项就寝时令人感到舒适的物品，并非总是那么柔软蓬松的吗？现存最古老的枕头记录有9000年的历史，其实是美索不达米亚，也就是现今的伊拉克。这个枕头是石头制的，用来垫高人的头部，目的是不让害虫爬到睡觉的人的嘴巴、耳朵和鼻子。下一句就说到，这个结构在睡眠期间会支撑着人的头部。我们知道前后文连贯的重要性，这里都在讨论石头做的硬邦邦的枕头，正确答案也必须在这脉络上。所以第一题正确答案我们选 C。Later, ancient Egyptians had both functional and religious reasons for using hard pillows. 后来，古埃及人因为兼具实用性和宗教性因素而使用硬的枕头。接着请同学看第二题，前文提到这些古人认为头是灵魂中枢，人体最神圣的部分。古埃及人敬奉的一位神叫做贝斯，那他就会刻在石头或象牙枕头上，避免邪灵入侵。下一句说到，他们相信狮子、龙等猛兽造型的枕头可以吓跑邪灵。其中2句都说枕头可以驱魔。照理来说，好的文章讯息是不会重复形成赘述的，所以提纲后面的 they believed， 这个 they 应该是另外一群人，而不是前面所讲的古埃及人。此外，为了保持文思脉络连贯，第二题我们选 D。The ancient Chinese also kept evil away with pillows. 古代中国人也用枕頭辟邪。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about pillows throughout the ages.The history of pillows, when we started having them, when they appeared, what they were made out of originally, and why people had them in the first place. So we know that long ago in human history, we only had the very elite or the very few of the human race actually sleeping with pillows because it was considered to be a luxurious habit. But when they first started out, I wouldn't have considered having a pillow that luxurious because they were made of stone. And I can't imagine sleeping on a rock. I mean, I've had to sleep on the floor before, but never without a pillow. I can't imagine having a pillow made of stone or rock. Now, the oldest surviving record of a pillow, meaning it was written down in history by someone, was 9,000 years old. This was quite an old pillow. And it comes from the Mesopotamia region, which is modern-day Iraq. And the pillow was, of course, stone. And they used it to raise the person's head so that bugs couldn't get in their mouths, ears, and nose while they were sleeping. Thankfully, we don't have that many pests running around our own homes. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about that sort of thing. Then moving forward into history, we have the Egyptians, and they started using pillows because they felt like the person's head was very sacred, and they wanted to protect that. Now, moving over to a different part of the world, we had the Chinese who liked to keep evil away with pillows, and their pillows were in the shape of animals, so they were quite lovely. They would use fierce animals like lions and dragons to keep those evil spirits away while they slept. And their pillows, again, were made out of a very hard substance, porcelain, jade, or bronze. So we're going to move on in time. Now we're going forward with the Greeks.
Right. One more note on the Chinese. That reminds me of having gone to the Palace Museum here in lovely Taipei, and they had these pillows on display, but I thought, that's a pillow? It looks awfully hard, but I guess that's the way pillows were thousands of years ago in ancient China. But again, we're talking about the Greeks now. By the time of the ancient Greeks, pillows had become softer. So the Greeks, of course, I don't know if they necessarily invented soft pillows, but according to history, the Greeks were using soft pillows. And yes, indeed, the ancient Greeks preferred to sleep that way. But again, this is something that wealthy people could afford. Only the rich people could afford these kinds of pillows. I guess the poor people had to sleep on the ground and have a pile of sticks or something like that.
Well, the other part of their society, I guess, were using pillow stuffed with straw. But some of these ancient Greeks were pretty smart. They were using down feathers long ago. Down pillows are still considered to be very luxurious, even in our society today. I've had several down pillows. I find them hard, though, Tom, because they kind of get flat after a while. So they're not my preferred pillow. But for the ancient Greeks, that was pretty nifty back then, pretty cool. So they had some who had pillows with down feathers and others who had pillows stuffed with straw. That's not very soft. However, these both had to be replaced often. Why? Because they were vulnerable to mold and insects. We're quite familiar with mold here in Taiwan because it's so humid and it rains so much that mold will develop. It kind of looks like that black or green in your bathroom that you see quite often when you're cleaning. That's mold. I'm allergic to mold. I think that's why I have asthma in Taiwan. But these pillows were also vulnerable to insects, meaning insects would get in and want to be amongst the down feathers or straw.
Right, or the insects, cockroaches, ants, or beetles, or whatever would get inside your pillow so they can eat the straw. Straw, of course, is dried grass, and that's what common people used to sleep on. These pillows stuffed with straw. Maybe not on piles of sticks.
Well, their mattresses back then were made from straw, too.
Could indeed be, but you got to be careful there because bugs like to crawl in there. And here it says they had to be replaced because they were vulnerable to mold and insects. Vulnerable just means you can be easily attacked. You can easily be affected in a bad way. And these kinds of soft pillows weren't often used during the Middle Ages because they were seen as a sign of weakness. So yes, during the Middle Ages, they didn't really use soft pillows then because it was not a macho thing to do. Only a real man would sleep on a hard pillow. Only a wimp would sleep on a soft pillow stuffed with feathers.
So in the 1500s, along comes England's King Henry VIII, who was quite famous for killing so many of his wives. He even banned soft pillows for everyone, except himself, of course, because he was special, and pregnant women. If you ban something, you have the authority or the power to say something is officially illegal or prohibited. You cannot have it. For example, nowadays, in most public places, cigarette smoking is banned. You can't smoke cigarettes. So he banned soft pillows for everyone except his very fat self and pregnant women. If you're pregnant, of course, you're expecting a baby and you're a woman who's going to be having a child born in the upcoming months.
Indeed. So there were some exceptions there for himself and for pregnant women. It wasn't that nice of him. Now, during the Industrial Revolution, widespread manufacturing made pillows affordable. So again, we got the Industrial Revolution taking place sometime in the 1800s, and we were able to manufacture things in factories pretty easily, so therefore it was quite easy to manufacture or make pillows in factories, and they had the economies of scale or whatever, so they could produce lots and lots of pillows, and when you can produce a lot of stuff, the price will go down.
That's so true. These were mainly filled with chicken feathers until the 1960s. Chicken feathers aren't quite as soft. When durable polyester fiber was invented, if something's durable, it lasts for a long, long time. It's able to withstand a lot of wear and tear and pressure or damage. You keep it for a long, long time. Polyester is a man-made material that we often use in clothes these days too. Polyester, it's a synthetic material. They were able to invent this polyester fiber, and that's when things changed. Now, we have pillows of every shape. Density means how thick or thin something is, the firmness, how hard or soft something is, and material. We've got all kinds of pillows out there.
Right, made from all sorts of substances, from foam, from polyester, from certain kinds of filling. And yes, indeed, you can go down to your local furniture store and try some out to see what's good for you. So when you go to sleep tonight, think about how fortunate modern humans are to have easy access to comfortable pillows. In fact, what you could possibly do is get something really hard, like a piece of wood or something, and actually try to sleep on that and imagine that you're living 5,000 years ago in the Han Dynasty or whatever. I think that goes back farther, the Zhou or Xia. But in any case, yeah, that's how they slept back then. At least that's how the nobility slept. So yeah, maybe it wouldn't be so bad after all. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Now it's time to listen to our Chinese teacher.
第三段接着说，到了古希腊时期，枕头变得更软了。有钱人使用羽绒制的枕头，而其他人则使用稻草填充的，但是这两种枕头都要常更换，因为里面容易长霉菌和虫。后面接着第三题，请再看后面的句子。在西元1500年，这个时候，英国国王亨利八世甚至于下令禁止除了他自己还有孕妇以外，其他人都不可以使用软枕头。我们可以发现这篇文章基本上是顺着时间顺序发展而成的。前面讲到古希腊，后面是16世纪，那所以我们要答题的这个部分在中间，中间就应该是中世纪。因此第三题我们就选 B， 意思是这些种类的软枕头在中世纪并不常使用，因为有很多人认为这种软枕头是软弱的象征。在接下来，英国国王亨利八世下令禁止只有他自己还有孕妇可以使用软枕头。紧接着请看第四题，后面提到这些枕头主要填充鸡毛，直到西元1960年代发明了耐用的聚酯纤维，跟上一题解题技巧其实是相同的。时间是很重要的答题线索，介于中世纪还有20世纪之间，我们就知道这里就应该是工业革命的时代。因此第四题选A. During the Industrial Revolution, widespread manufacturing made pillows affordable. 好，就是在工业革命期间，是不是有很多的工厂如雨后春笋般的成立了？那所以很多工厂都在做枕头，那枕头就不再是奢侈品啦，很多人就买得起。所以这就是我们第四题正确答案，它这个选项的意思。好了，老师已经带大家看完篇章结构的4题，请同学务必要记得，在解题的时候要先看清楚这4个选项。那有些时候呢，选项本身其实就给了线索，它们比较可能是出现在句子的文章的开始，还是在后面。你同学呢，可以稍微排一下顺序，之后就是记住我说的8字真言，这是哪8字？前后连贯，文艺通顺。好，老师在此祝福各位同学在答篇章结构的时候呢，都能够非常的顺利。以上就是我们针对篇章结构练习题所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for listening to our program, and we wish you a good night's sleep tonight on a cuddly, soft pillow. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Good night.
Bye.